In this video, I'm going to show you how to find faceless YouTube niches with low competition so you can grow your channel faster, so you can start earning sooner, and so you can start earning sooner with as little investment in your channel of time and money as possible. So before we dive into how to find these unsaturated or low competition niches, you need to understand the dynamics that exist in niches when they're saturated and then unsaturated to understand why you want to be in an unsaturated niche in the first place. So if you're in a high competition or a saturated niche, what ends up happening is that there could be potentially a ton of viewers that want to watch content around the topics that you're creating videos around, but there's also a lot of competition. So effectively, all the interest in the market is going to be dispersed across the channels that exist in your niche. So if you have all these different viewers, they're going to diversify their attention across these different channels, one of them hopefully being yours. But obviously, you're fighting for attention. Now, when you find a low competition or unsaturated niche, that means that you are effectively putting yourself in a position where you don't have to compete with other channels as aggressively. So here's what the market dynamic ends up looking like. So you can see right here that when you're in a low competition or unsaturated niche, there's still going to be viewers in the market that are interested in your content, but you're not fighting against other channels to get that attention and to get that viewership, which is why finding low competition breakout niches on YouTube is so valuable because, again, it allows you to grow faster because you get all the attention. It allows you to grow with less input because each one of your videos gets more views, and it'll allow you to make money sooner because you'll get more views and get monetized faster. So that is the dynamic that exists. And so what I'm going to do in this video is share with you the exact same niche selection framework that I use to help my student Steve scale up to 4K a month, Austin scale up to 4K a month, and help Eric build up a 6-figure income stream on his channel, allowing him to quit his 9-to-5 job and do YouTube full time. And I'm even going to share with you 3 unsaturated niches later on in the video. So stick around and we'll be going over that shortly. So here's the thing. You want to build a channel in an unsaturated niche, right? And it sounds like the greatest thing on earth. You're going to be making money, overnight seemingly. However, there are a couple other dynamics or elements that need to be in place if you do actually want to make money with a channel in an unsaturated niche. Because think about it like this. Imagine there was an unsaturated niche, but there was no one that wanted to watch content in that niche. Well then, would you actually be able to grow? No, because no one would watch your content. So that means that you also need to find a niche that's not only unsaturated, but that has high demand. Because if you don't have demand in the market for your videos, then no one's going to watch them, as I just alluded to. So we want to actually be looking for criteria that indicate that there is viewership available in the market for the unsaturated niche that we want to pursue. So again, just a little nuance probably saved you at least a few months of uploading in a dead niche that wasn't going to get you anywhere. So if you like that tip, obviously subscribe for more. Now, we also want to find a niche that's going to be profitable, because if you're getting a lot of views and you're still not making any money, then what are we even doing this for, right? So we want to make sure that this criteria is met as well. So if you're doing this outside your family, your business, your job, you're not just wasting your time uploading videos and praying for the best. So how do we find niches that meet this criteria? So the way that I do it, and I'm showing you exactly how I do it, how I advise my students to do it, is to use a tool called TubeLab, because there's quite a few criteria to meet, and just trying to hope for the best, scanning YouTube for channels for hours and hours, is probably not the most efficient use of your time. So we're going to go over to TubeLab, and I'm going to use the niche finder. So how I like to do this analysis is I like to come on to the tool here, and then I start to open up the niche finder, and then I go to the filters. So how I like to filter is the following. I, number one, go to new channels as of 6 months old. And then what I like to do is I like to filter for channels that are ideally high quality. This is where I start my search, just to make sure I'm not looking at a whole bunch of AI slop. I filter for faceless, I filter for monetized, and then I want to set my revenue target, let's say at you know, $13,000 a month if I want to be making 5 figures a month. And then I select the language as English. And then I'm going to hit set filters. So now what I want to do is I want to start analyzing channels that I could potentially pursue for my own YouTube journey. So what I basically do is I'm going through the listing of all the potential options that are available to me going forward. So one of the things you want to look at is, okay, what channels are resonating with me? Because also you want to find a channel that's interesting to you. So now as you're starting to scroll down, you're scrolling down the list. One of the things that you can do to be able to validate the criteria we're looking for is we're going to use the Analyze Niche feature, okay? So we're going to go to Analyze Niche, and what this is going to give us is some stats that we're very interested in. So it's going to show you if the niche is profitable, so what the RPM is, and ideally we'll want something over 5 just so we can still make some good ad revenue per 1,000 views. We want the channel to be rather unsaturated because, again, like we talked about, if there's high demand and low supply, the channel is obviously going to grow faster. And then we want the market size to be rather large so that there is demand in the market and there is people that we can reach at high volumes to get viewership. So with that being said, that is how you're going to analyze different niches, right? So again, you can go back here and you can keep scrolling down and you can keep doing the same analysis for many other types of channels. So really the only factor that you need to actually think about outside of just using this one tool is, am I interested in this particular type of channel as you're scrolling through? So if we open up this channel right here, what you want to look at is, how are the videos being produced? Can you actually, you know, keep up with that production style? Things like this. For example, you could be using a tool like VidRush to be able to automate the creation of these tools. You want to see if these videos are evergreen or not so that you don't have to be uploading a video each and every day, which would obviously not be conducive if you're working a job, you have a family, etc. And so at this point too, one other little pro tip that I can give you, if you find a niche like this where it's, you know, something that you think you want to pursue, outside of just validating that the niche has a pretty good RPM, my suggestion to you would be go on other channels that exist in this niche. I personally like to use the similar channels tool with NextLev. So we're going to let this load here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick search and I'm going to find other channels that exist in the market. And what I would do is I would just open up a couple of these. So as you can see here, we have some different videos right here on these channels. These ones are obviously doing particularly well as well. And so I would just start opening them just to make sure that other channels that do exist in the niche are still doing well, they're healthy channels, etc. And then I would start to open up some of the videos on the channel to see if they have any other means of monetizing, like brand deals, affiliates. In this case, I would probably just look at travel channels in general, just to make sure that when I do scale, I'm not just relying on ad revenue alone, but I can also make money in many other different ways, which is going to exponentially increase how much I can make on that channel over time. Now, if you want to learn the 3 channels that are unsaturated and that meet these criteria, the first one is Chill Historian. The second one is Ghouls Explains. The third one is True Horizons, a similar channel to the one that I just showed you. And if you want to do this together and learn how you can pick the perfect niche for your journey, just click the link below in this video's description or pinned comment, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you to work you through exactly how you can go about setting up your own profitable channel. Catch you in the next one.